how much credit do you give Shedeur Sanders for the Browns' win in Vegas over the Raiders on Sunday?
I mean, I give him some. I think he looked poised. He made a throw, that downfield throw that I don't think probably Dylan Gabriel could make, and he doesn't have Joe Flacco didn't have the mobility that Shaduer has to evade pressure. So I think some. It was against the Raiders. He is the first rookie Browns quarterback to get a win in his first start. So there has to be something there that I have to give him some credit for.
I'm going to sound like a huge hater here, and I give the young man credit. He played well enough for the Browns to win the game, and like you said, since the Browns returned to the NFL in 1999, he's the first Browns quarterback to win in his first start. So he does get credit for that. Given the opposition, given the fact that the Browns defense sacked Geno Smith 10 times in this game, and the Raiders averaged 3.5 yards per play, here's my question for you, Trysta, and to all the people out there that are watching this right now that love Shedeur Sanders and think I'm a hater. I'm going to read you some names, and you tell me if this quarterback would have won yesterday in his first start for the Cleveland Browns. Are you ready?
In his first start?
In his first start, with the defense playing the way it did, the fact that the Raiders could do nothing on offense and the Browns ran the ball down their throats, would Tim Couch have won this game yesterday for the Cleveland Browns?
No comment.
He would have. Would Derek Anderson have won this game for the Cleveland Browns? He had a 10-win season for the Browns. He would have. Brady Quinn, would Johnny Football have won this game yesterday? I think the answer to this question is yes. I'm not trying to hate on Shedeur. Trysta, me or you could have potentially won this game.
What if they hadn't practiced with the ones all season and had 1 week of practice with the ones and then played against the Raiders?
But think about
it. They have won that game.
He had one good throw in the game. Think about that. He had the one throw down the field, and it was a nice throw to Isaiah Bond, nearly for a touchdown. And it's not that he played poorly in the game, but just everyone's rushing to crown him here. When the defense had 10 sacks, the Raiders couldn't do anything. I kind of don't understand that. And I know people love to live on the extremes with Shedeur. I want to be somewhere in the middle here. He played well enough to win. I think he earned a second start. But this idea that he's now like the franchise quarterback because of the win over the Raiders, I don't buy that.
I think more people think Shaduer sucks and that he deserves no credit and is not an NFL quarterback than people who are ready to crown him the franchise quarterback. I think I agree with that. A centrist, and so you see probably crazy people online. I think we over-exaggerate Shaduer because of how little credit he's been given this whole time and how badly he's been treated this whole time. You want to defend. It's almost like Angel Reese to a degree. You almost want to over-defend because people are over-criticizing.
Well, it's like, think of if Max Brosmer, and we don't know, J.J. McCarthy in concussion protocol when we're taping this, if Max Brosmer starts for the Vikings on Sunday against the Seahawks, and now he's undrafted, so he's not as well known as Shaduer, but if he plays like Shaduer did, I think people would say, yeah, I think he played really well in the game. Shaduer doesn't get judged the way fifth-round quarterbacks get judged. He almost gets judged the way first-round quarterbacks get judged, and that's right, wrong, or indifferent. I think it's wrong, but because he's such a lightning rod for criticism and praise, you get the crazies on both sides of the aisle here. I do think I really am trying to be a centrist here. He played well enough to win. The Browns are giving him another start. I think he deserves it. But to say, he was great in this game, and I know you're not saying he was great, but the people that are, it's really not what happened here. A lot of quarterbacks would have won that game yesterday. The crazy thing on the internet to me is this idea, Trysta, that the Browns are somehow sabotaging Shedeur Sanders over the course of this process. What say you?
I think billionaires have their own little perspectives, and they do not like to change their mind. And they put their little grubby fingers in the mix of their franchises all the time. We've seen that in every sport. And I think Haslam hasn't wanted Shaduer there since the very beginning. And I think regardless of how Shaduer plays, he will never be good enough for Mr. Haslam. And so that trickles down to Stefanski, and I think there's some institutional friction around giving Shaduer opportunities, and I think to that degree, that could be considered as sabotage. And I think when an owner has said publicly, we didn't want to draft you, I was surprised. We draft Shedeur Sanders. It's very hard for me to feel like he's going to get a fair shake.
Let's say Shaduer is good next week, and he keeps getting starts, and he's the starter for the rest of the year, and he plays reasonably well enough that at the end of the year, there's a conversation that maybe he can be the franchise quarterback moving forward. The financial advantages that an organization gleans, like look at San Francisco with Brock Purdy, what they were able to do after the Trey Lance debacle, of having a fifth-round quarterback be your starter, being able to build a team around him because you're not paying the quarterback anything until he gets that second contract. I don't think they would shy away from that if you figured out that I don't think he's going to be the guy. I think if he plays well enough, no one's going to be saying this because he's going to be in the mix to be the starting quarterback next season.
Well, and listen, he already, after that game, is doing the thing Jimmy Haslam doesn't like. Yapping that mouth, saying, listen.
I don't like that. Do you like
no
it?
No one likes it.
He shouldn't do that. He shouldn't be talking about, look what I did. Imagine a whole offseason. Just be quiet and just go and perform. And like, that's what any quarterback should do in this. He can't help himself.
But we get that from other positions, and we get that even from certain other quarterbacks, and we do not give this level of ire towards these people. It's because he hasn't accomplished anything at the NFL level yet. Lamar Jackson talking smack doesn't give us the same level of issues. Josh Allen, if he was to talk, maybe it's the Deion thing, maybe it's just the hype coming in to the draft process, but like whatever Shaduer does, like you said, is very, very polarizing. And the way he talks about himself can be grating to a certain group of people who already don't like him.
It reinforces the narrative, right? Coming into the draft process that he's turning a lot of teams off with the way he carries himself and he doesn't want to be a backup or go to a situation where he's not going to play. It's like, okay, it's like if you're a person and people, whether it's true or not, and you're hearing people say that about you, I think you'd probably want to try and dispel that notion, at least until you have some level of success, and then you can get away with it. He wins one game and he's right back to this, which again, it doesn't mean you can't be a really good quarterback. There's a great quote from former Cardinals general manager Steve Keim that says, if Hannibal Lecter could run a 4.3 40, we just say he has an eating disorder. The NFL will look past personality flaws if you can play. So if Shadur keeps winning, none of this is going to matter. He's going to get an opportunity to start either in Cleveland or somewhere else. But if he's going to be like a backup quarterback or a middling starter, you can't carry yourself this way. No one's going to want you part of their organization. And Trysta, I don't know if you agree with this. I don't know if I can blame those people. And I think I'm being fair when I say that.
And I think, for example, we look at Davis Mills, for example, when he ended up getting the start because C.J. Stroud was in concussion protocol, and the first thing I thought to myself was, I didn't remember Davis Mills was on this team. There is no world that Shadur will ever be on a team and get a start, and it's like, I forgot Shadur was ever there. Never in a million years, and that's what you need from a backup, right? Is somebody who just plays the role. The difference is I think Shadur believes and will always believe he's a starting caliber quarterback.
Any quarterback in the NFL should think that. Anyone that does anything for a living should feel like they can be the best at it, like otherwise what's the point? But at this point in his career, you can't be broadcasting that all the time. You put the work in, and once you perform, then you can kind of start to carry yourself like that. If he keeps winning and he plays well, none of this is going to matter. We're going to forget all of this stuff. All he has to do is go out there and win, and I think the opportunities are going to follow.